I would very much, I would like to thank the team of Intoxicating Spaces Research Group for giving me this opportunity to talk about the Indian Coffee House. Arguably, the first coffee house chain in the world, the idea behind the creation of the India Coffee House chain, it became Indian Coffee House since 1958, was to promote coffee in the Indian market. South India, where most of the coffee is grown in India, was already familiar with coffee. So the India Coffee House would make coffee available to consumers at a moderate price and popularize coffee among people in North India. Today, I shall talk about some of the legacies of this space in the fields of consumption and the hot beverages marketing sector. I begin by comparing the measures adopted by the coffee and the tea industry to create a domestic market for the respective hot beverages. The success of the model not only led the industry to reproduce the model in other cities and towns, but it also inspired other entrepreneurs to imitate the model for selling tea. Whilst both these tendencies continue into the new millennium, they also shed light on the consumption of urban space by diverse social groups. The adoption of new goods habits is essential in the process of becoming modern. The project of modernity remains incomplete unless one buys a certain kind of housing, modern household appliances and technology, consumes certain beverages, visits certain sites, all of which signifying their distinguishing lifestyle. In South Asia, where resources are inequitably distributed and education is not equally accessible to all, printed advertisements had a limited appeal. They still have a limited appeal, catering to the English educated middle class. Even then, playing on the anxieties and aspirations of the middle class, commercials of the interwar period often illustrated the arguments of Judith Williamson and Timothy Burke, who have stressed how advertisements need to evoke powerful prior meanings, that is, concepts and values already resonate deeply in the audience advertisers are trying to reach. Scholars like Douglas Sainz, Abigail McGowan, and Arvind Rajagopal have drawn our attention to how advertising agencies geared their message to widespread concerns about the single unit family home, modern urban multitasking women, and conjugality that were emerging among members of the middle class as male providers or as female housewives. These ads often insisted that for carrying out existing responsibilities more efficiently, the housewife needed to purchase certain appliances and products, as she was the one to make the decision for the household. Comparing the promotion of coffee with that of tea, we see that from 1901 onwards, Tea Association was distributing pice packets of tea among poorer classes. By 1935, when the Coffee Cess Committee was trying to target Indian consumers, large advertisements in newspapers directly addressed the housewife, instructing her about the qualities of tea. Sorry, something is going wrong. Yeah, okay. Here we see, yes. I can't go. Yeah.
That's what. Are you trying to progress the PowerPoint to the next slide?
Yes, I have.
Right, okay.
Yes,
sure?
I've done that. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Comparing the promotion, it got stuck somewhere. Sorry, it's a mess.
Because at the moment we can just see
comparing the promotion of coffee with that of tea. By 1935, when the Coffee Cess Committee was trying to target Indian consumers, large advertisements in newspapers directly addressed the housewife, instructing her about the qualities of tea. After Second World War, large billboards in vernacular languages placed in retail shops and stations carried detailed instructions about how to do tea. For about 2 decades, from the mid-1930s to 1950s, tea industry was consistently addressing the middle-class housewife, pointing out why it should be the household drink. For example, this message from 1933, we see that the salesman is addressing a group of women gathering around him and trying to tell them about why they should drink tea. When you get tired during the day, tea is the cup of cheer, cheapest after water, that is within easy reach and can be made within a few minutes. Something that can remove, tea is something that can remove mental and physical fatigue. The call, make tea your household drink, is followed by an instruction, re how to prepare tea. Tea was actually drawing on the many of these context from the socio-cultural milieu. In this case, we see that the very popular lullaby, perhaps the first lullaby every Bengali child hears. In the original lullaby, you have the mother asking the sleep fairies to put the baby to sleep, and customarily offers them dressed betel leaf. In the commercial, she offers them tea instead. And the reason is that she must make tea for her husband. The multitasking woman has to also to put the baby to sleep and to make tea for her husband who's due to come back from her office or his office. Here it is a poem of the Nobel Prize winning poet Tagore on winter. And the message is that, so this is very important as a message coming from Tagore that is being associated with tea. The message is tea makes diverse festive moments in the cycle of seasons enjoyable. This is again another, it's perhaps a wedding procession. The rhyme, about a procession with a band party consisting of drummers. Here too, the original has 2 women going to a village market and buying dressed betel leaves. In the commercial, the parrot featuring in the rhyme is also asking for tea. Now, this method of addressing the housewife is being taken on by some local operators. This is one advertisement from Tamil Nadu in the from the 1940s. In Tamil Nadu, coffee was a household item already by the beginning of the 20th century. And we see Narasus, which began in 1925, is addressing the housewife by saying that a modern housewife can make the right choice. She is confident and she is aware of the qualities of the Narasus coffee, and she also knows that she can satisfy her relatives and guests by offering this tea. By contrast, if we turn to the advertisements by Coffee Cess Committee, which was created for popularizing coffee, we see that the committee and later the coffee board, the committee's tasks were taken over by the Coffee Board of India that started promoting coffee, and the India Coffee House. There we see that it's the space which is getting more important. All people from all political parties, they of course go to the coffee house, and they find Indian coffee now delicious, but you have to try it at the India Coffee House. Similar message is also being sent in another.
Sorry, I just want to say that we can't see your slides more than the first one, but I think you're describing them really well. So I think it works to sort of picture them in our head, but
I'm not so sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. James has the slides, so maybe he can show them. I don't know. James, can you hear?
I can indeed, Baswat. Yeah, sorry, I thought you decided to press on without them, but let's do it that way. Stop sharing your screen.
Okay, stop.
And I will share mine, and we can
So possibly that everything that could go wrong has to go wrong now.
Oh, there's always one cursed session in any sort of.
Of course.
Honestly, don't worry about it. As I said before, it is live.
But it's a very, very interesting cursed session.
Yes.
Slideshow. Okay, so I'll
Slide 8.
I'm just sharing my screen now.
Yeah. Slide 8, please.
Play from start.
Yes. Yes. Similarly, refresh yourself with a cup of Indian coffee at the India Coffee House showed showed an Indian with a smiling face, relishing with a cup of coffee, engulfed by its aroma. In a series of slides, in a series of posters issued by the Coffee Board in the 1960s, which would be slides 9 and 10, highlighted Indian coffee, but it did not give any message to the consumer. It does not address the consumer. It doesn't tell anything about the commodity. It doesn't address the needs of the consumer. And these posters, moreover, these posters one could go and one could watch only if one was in the India Coffee House. If you happen to be there, then you could see these. And you see these, but you don't know whether they're, like used for decoration or are they giving the message that you have to buy coffee? How do you make coffee? No information is given. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is again, the previous one. Yeah, this is, I find it unique. Coffee making is a fine art, but fine art is not for everyone. The copy does not, again, give any information about the commodity, and this is 1960. It does not relate to the need of the consumers. The industry seems to be addressing itself. They're very nice that it's a nice piece of art. The next slide, please. But this ambiguity regarding coffee, together with the enthusiasm for India Coffee House, encouraged Indian males to partake of coffee collectively in the coffee house. I argue here that when the coffee industry took recourse to the media to advertise coffee, it offered a service rather than a commodity and introduced the public to the new institution it created. This method of popularizing coffee through coffee houses branded coffee as a beverage for socialization, distinguished coffee from tea, and determined the way the beverage was going to be consumed. India Coffee House was different from pre-existing tea shops and restaurants because operating at a micro level, tea shops were bare, often without a space to sit, whilst in restaurants, consumption of food was essential. By contrast, coffee house was spacious in its with an interior decoration and facilities such as ceiling fans and air conditioner considered modern in the mid-20th century, catering to the taste of the English-educated urbanites. Visiting coffee house became a part of the everyday for many of its connoisseurs, who were thrilled when these coffee houses, with their Western ambience and moderately affordable coffee, opened their doors to the public. India Coffee House offered a few moments of respite from the chaos outside in the city, and there the stranger in the city could enjoy a cup of quality coffee at a nominal price. Consequently, while tea became a household drink in entire North India, outside South India, coffee became a marker of socialization. Coffee in coffee house became a signifier of the space, which again signified the informal gatherings taking place there. And in fact, it's still going on during this, in the new millennium, when global chains have entered the Indian market. Slides 12 and 13, please. Yes, this is actually, no, sorry. No, the previous one, please. Okay, this is still, okay. University students and teachers, leaders of students' unions, rising poets and writers, temporarily unemployed, who used to gather at neighborhood restaurants and tea shops, began crowding the coffee house. That soon became the center of attraction. People from all walks of life could sit there face to face for debates and discussions over cups of coffee. Important Bengali, Hindi, Urdu literary movements of the 1950s through to the 1970s were born in that space. Personal relationship between the consumers and workers of coffee house helped the latter in their movement against the coffee board to take over the space and form the workers' cooperatives owning the outlets since 1958. It is important for political and civil activists to have a foothold in the space. I think this is perhaps slide number 14. Or no, slide number 12. The one before this? Okay, no, then I think something went wrong within there. This is actually the popularity of the space, on the other hand, made the original concept a viable business model to be adapted by entrepreneurs, big and small. Soon after coffee house began operating, the response of the urbanites or customers who formed the outside market elements in a business strategy encouraged others to reproduce the concept. So this is, you see the previous one, please. Yes, this is as soon as the coffee house was, and you have a Delhi tea house. Yes, as soon as the coffee house was launched, it was so popular that the concept was copied by private entrepreneurs. This is, of course, it says that it's for the expatriates, American soldiers, United Delhi Coffee House. They are almost within walking distance, this Delhi Tea House and the United Coffee House. But Delhi Tea House has a very strange story. It was set up as a tea house in imitation of the India Coffee House, but it is better known as a coffee house. And because it was forced to retail coffee. Next slide, please. Yes, these are all in imitation of the India Coffee House. This is again in Allahabad. It's a very posh restaurant which sells coffee. And this is this person we see on the photo was an employee of the India Coffee House. Just before his retirement, he thought he would start a shop on the pavement. It's a pavement shop. Next slide, please.
You have two minutes left.
Yes, and this is the original India Coffee House in Calcutta on the left in 1942. How the concept is still valid. Another brand new coffee house was opened in Calcutta in December 2020, and notice the cantilever mezzanine floor overlooking the ground floor, and the ceiling fans suspended from long rods. It's for the ambience of the coffee house. Next slide, please. As I said, political foothold is very necessary. It has always been necessary in the coffee house. Here we see these photographs are from early this year, just before the assembly elections in West Bengal. We see this on the photo on my left. We see people in orange colored shirts. They're representatives of the fundamentalist right-wing party BJP. They wanted to show that they have a foothold on the coffee house. And 2 days later, a procession of civic activists and other parties were taken out, saying that the coffee house does not have any space for the sectarian BJP. I think this is the last one, right? Or do I have another slide?
No, this is the last one, Beth.
Okay, then I will just conclude. The concepts space of India Coffee House was to function as a restaurant and popularize coffee. The continuous reproduction of the concept testifies the popularity and success of the space as a business model. Simultaneously, however, informal, unscheduled conversations stimulated by caffeine became the hallmark of India Coffee House. The space of the coffee house, as perceived by its connoisseurs, was embedded in the social world they represented. Yet, the consumers' participatory practices in the place to rise above the chaotic everyday outside the coffee house made it a heterotopia that became an essential part of their everyday. Thank you.